Nano Banana 2 just dropped, and here's everything that you need to know. It's officially called Gemini 3.1 Flash, and it's the follow-up version after their most successful Nano Banana Pro. Essentially, what Google is saying is that they're combining pro-level features with lightning-fast speed. The question is it actually good? Now that is what you guys wanted me to find out in a deep dive video, so that is exactly what we're gonna do. I'm using Nano Banana inside of OpenArt because it allows me to compare it easily against Nano Banana 1, Nano Banana Pro, and also Dream. If you want to try it out, I will leave a link in the description down below. Before we dive in, bit of a history lesson, and I have to say history because this industry moves fast. About a year ago, around August 2025, we had the launch of Nano Banana 1, and that already was groundbreaking. But then in November, like in the same year, we had Nano Banana Pro, and there was just nothing like it. Like no other image model was that good. Also with the improved 2K and 4K resolution, it was truly insane. And now we have Nano Banana 2. When I'm reading this Google blog and I see the marketing they put behind it, then I'm getting excited for it, but let's see if it's worth the hype. So for the first test, I want to figure out how good this advanced world knowledge is from Nano Banana 2, because they're using data from Gemini. And do you remember when there was a whole hype of using coordinates to get a snapshot of that exact location, and even doing that in certain times? I want to do that same test, but this time we're gonna make it a bit more advanced. So what we're gonna do is inside of OpenArt, we're gonna go over and click Nano Banana 2. Then we're gonna describe our image, and I want to do a 2x2 grid of the location, which is actually the coordinates of the Colosseum of Rome. Then I want to have each panel as a real photograph taken in that era. Then we have the top left, which is the 21st of June 80 AD. And then we have the top right, that is essentially 1450 BC. And then we have 1870, and then we have in 2025. So basically what I want to test is how can we get a different snapshot of the Colosseum of Rome against all of these different times? Does it know what has happened during those times with the Colosseum, and how good is it? So let's generate this. So here we go. We got this collage of 4 different images, and let's see if it's actually like accurate. So over here we got 80 AD. So around 80 AD, this place must have been stunning. If I know my history correctly, like you should see the white limestone like we're seeing right here, like all these details right here, like it's fully built, it's a busy street, it's at the peak of that moment. Then around like 1450, again, if my own sense of history is correct here, it should have been an absolute like shit show. Like it should have been like where a lot of decay has been happening. People were even like living at this place. Then around 1870, I believe there should have been renovations happening. And then we go back to now. What I'm seeing just by looking at these two, even by these 3, is there's not much difference in the Colosseum itself. Like I've been going over this image for a good amount of time, and I just see like it's pretty much the same here. So it's not perfect here. It's not perfect in this test. At least this looks fairly accurate. I'm not sure though, like I've been there, but I can't remember these, like the open roads here. Nevertheless, it's still AI. So let's actually compare this to an older version to see if that makes a better image. So this is what we got when we compare this to Nano Banana Pro. So here it's still being built. It's all looking like the same structure, although it is looking a little bit different here, but this one is just not like, it's not getting it good enough. And also there's so many buses here. Then we have the same thing on Nano Banana. I mean, it definitely wasn't that much decay like this. And this is also not what the finished building would look like from the inside. So yeah, Nano Banana 1, even worse. Then I compare this to Dream 5.0 Lite. It put the coordinates in there, but it's not, yeah, it's just not good. I mean, even when we're cross-checking this against like actual Google images, like real images, yeah, this one is not even it. So in this test, Nano Banana 2 does win. Then I wanted to see how good it is with image quality on like real humans. And I wanted to test this out particularly on people that are famous. So I wanted to make a close-up portrait of Margot Robbie. And funnily enough, I also tried this directly in Gemini. But because of the restrictions you have inside of Google, I couldn't make that image. It literally didn't allow me to make that. But if I try this inside of OpenArt, for some reason, we don't have these boundaries. So using this prompt, a hyper-realistic close-up cinematic portrait of Margot Robbie, she has wet blonde wavy hair falling around her face, striking blue eyes with natural soft makeup, well-shaped brows, and glowing skin skin with visible pores, glossy lips, slightly parted, calm, neutral expression. Then I add in a few other details like what it is shot on and what in terms of the lighting. We have a soft bokeh background, by the way. Now this is done with Nano Banana 2. Looking at this it is sharp, it is good. It's like might have been too much, so that made me wonder like what would this look like if I were to make the same prompt with Nano Banana Pro, and then I got this one. Please start a fight with me in the comments because I'm wondering which one you prefer, but I actually preferred this one over the other one. I felt like this one somewhat looked realer. Like if we go back and forth, then this is almost too much. Like it's too overly contrast. It's almost like overexposed in a sense. This felt a lot more natural to me. I do like the details though on this, but it feels too much. It feels too sharp. So yeah, what do you think in the comments down below? Which one do you prefer out of this test? Next up, we got text and images. So it's saying that precision text rendering and translation. It allows you to generate accurate and legible text for marketing mockups and greeting cards. You can even translate and localize text within an image and share your ideas globally. And then it shows you like these kind of like examples. So I wanted to try that out and I wanted to stress test this. So to test this out, I generated this image in Nano Banana 2. And let me describe what I prompted it. So I literally asked for like 7 different objects in there. I first had to ask a boarding pass, that is small airline style text, where we have the passenger A. Raymond. Then we have the flight in there, the gate and the boarding time. Then we also have a laptop screen with a code editor. It has a specific code on there. Then we have a transparent water bottle. It has to be curved and it says hydrate, focus and repeat. Then next up we have a neon sign reflected in the wall and it must be backwards. As you can see, it did that. Like that's quite impressive that it did understand that. And that's also should be on level 2. Now that's the only part where I felt like it failed a little bit because it's level S. So that might be the only L Nano Banana 2 is taking there. Then we have a digital departure board in the background, slightly blurred but still readable, and it tells the time. So it's actually the time that we're supposed to be boarding. So my guy is about to miss his flight because he's still chilling here making a picture of his boarding pass. Well, he should be on the plane. And lastly, I added in a small luggage tag hanging from the seat, handwritten, handle with care, fragile gear inside. And also with all of this, I gave it the requirements that everything should have the correct fonts. And honestly, if we take a look at this result, it feels quite good. The only thing here, seat row 14, property of terminal 3, well, we're in departures level S. Yeah, that thing is a bit of an error, but this would be a thing we could fix up in post-production. All in all, pretty good. But then again, I wondered like how good is this actually if we're not comparing this to Nano Banana Pro. So here's the same thing, but in Nano Banana Pro. Okay, right away, the composition on this one is a little bit strange. Like it could be possible, but it's taking a picture of the side of this. Then we have a half ripped up like boarding pass. I do like the reflection here, but it's not the neon signs that I had typed in my prompt. I do like this screen a lot better. It feels like a lot more airport style. Then for the code and the laptop, we do have that. We have hydrate, focus and repeat on the water bottle. So it does do that. And we have the tag handle with care, fragile gear inside, also readable. All in all, this seems to be better with Nano Banana 2. So if you have a lot of text or a lot of different details in there, Nano Banana 2 might be the way to go. Next up, let's do a multilingual test. And here I had this idea of translating this really old German newspaper. I'm not German myself, but I can read a little bit of it. But of course, we also can use Google Lens or even Claude to translate this. So this is the image input that we used. And then we basically asked it to translate this German newspaper to English. And this is the result that we got. Overall, you can pause this if you want, so you can read through this. I've already done that. I haven't found any like glitches in the text or any gibberish or any type of words that didn't make sense. It seems to have done a good job at translating this. So what this tells me is that this is a good idea if you have ad creatives and you want to easily convert your marketing campaigns or easily convert your Facebook ads into a different language. Like that is now easier than ever. So again, if you need to translate this from a language like German or any other language, then this is a good thing to use. I've tried the same thing here again with a Japanese billboard. So this is just to give you an idea. I put in this reference image and I just asked it to translate the text into Japanese. I cross-checked this with multiple sources and to me it is correct. But if you're Japanese watching this, please let me know if it's actually correct or if it missed the mark completely. Still though, I would feel Nano Banana Pro could handle this, so I'm not that impressed by it. Moving on, we got subject consistency, and here it tells us that we can have up to 5 different characters and the fidelity with up to 14 different objects into one image. So I wanted to try that out and I'm playing around with this a little bit, and I need to do more of this because this sounds and look great, that you can put in so many different characters, so many different details, and it gets it exactly right. So to test out this idea, what I did is I generated like 14 different things, from characters to backgrounds to objects to everything that you can imagine. I generated it and I just wanted to see if we can make a good looking image with this. So what you do is you literally drop in all of your images inside of OpenArt. So you can just start describing what you want to have happen. For example, I dropped in all of these images, then I just typed in it's an official animated movie poster, and then I start describing a young Asian girl with dark hair. You could even, if you wanted to, drop in the ad and then you can tag that image that you're describing. This way the AI better understands what you want to have happen with each object or character. For this prompt, because it's quite long, I turn on the auto polish, and this way your prompt will be a little bit more enhanced, and when I hit generate, it got me this result. So in this image we do have all of our details in there. We got the hippo, we've got the girl, we've got the little bird that is sitting on this picnic basket, then we got the bicycle in there, we got the plane in there, we got the lamp, we got the lantern, we got the map, and we even got the telescope thing. So this could be a great movie poster, like I would watch this movie. Now this is also something I would recommend you to try out more. Make more of different elements that you want to have in there and like use all of these different references. That's how the pros are using this. So if you want to try this out yourself, just think of what you want to have happen on the screen. You have now more control than ever to create a good generation for your images and your videos. Let's dive a little bit deeper and see how good it actually is at understanding the context of what's also going on in your reference image. So I got this stunning image of this supercar right here, and I want to make an infographic about this, of how I made this image. So what I did here is I literally told it to look at this photo and recreate the full setup as a retro 1970 instructional infographic. Camera gear settings, lighting positions, everything the photographer has used. Vintage halftone textures, muted oranges and browns, old magazine typography, hand-drawn diagram feel. So what it understood from our reference image, let's look at it from the side. It understood what type of trees were around it, where it picked out these pink leaf trees and it put the car in the middle. Then it even includes that we need someone to spread around these petals. I don't know why it's saying scattering cherry park. I'm not sure if my English is too limited for that or if this sentence just doesn't make sense. To me, it doesn't make sense. We have key light, low angle, natural sun. That's the only light we're using. We need to create some preparation, so maybe like a reflective scrim for even body reflections. That's quite cool. We have the composition and perspective reference, so it gives us a shot at how the image should be taken. And then it even describes like what the equipment and settings should be. And it is quite cool. So we have the lens choice, compressed background, wide aperture, telephoto lens, Bogen tripod, and we're filming on Ektachrome 64. Honestly, these details are really, really good. But again, like how good is it really if we were to compare this to Nano Banana Pro? So Nano Banana Pro also did something similar, but here we got this result, which doesn't quite look like it. So if we just go off by the car just looks like it. But if we're looking at how this shot has been taken, the trees are not the same as the other one. We are missing quite a few details. It's not shot on a softbox. We're using natural sunlight. They've added in these softbox and this like reflector light. Could be the case if it's outside, but let's see the image one more time. I feel like it's just natural light, even though there's not much natural about this image. But then for the exposure settings, I don't like these dials that much. Aperture 1.5, camera lens 50mm, 50mm lens. That's not right. That's not what we said. We said it's shot on a... Then here it's being shot on a 50mm lens and a low angle position. It's not bad, but it's... I feel like the one in Nano Banana 2 is way more structured, is way more in-depth. And that is maybe because of the improved data that it can now process, and it can use Gemini to get to their result. Let's do this again actually, but this time we're using this image of this beautiful villa at the beachfront, and we're asking it to make a blueprint, more of a floor plan of this house. So let's actually see how accurate this is by analyzing this image. And I'm honestly quite impressed just by first looks, but I got the real image next to me, like the input image. I got it next to me so I can analyze this. Let's go off this first ground floor plan and site overview. So first starting off with the pathway right here. This looks quite accurate. I feel like this thing, I mean, we cannot really see it, but there's not really a path there, but that's being a bit nitpicky. In terms of car parking, we have 3 spaces. On the image, I'm counting like 4, but I'm not complaining here. Then for the ground floor, this is what I find quite interesting. So ground floor, if we go and look at the bottom room right here, then yes, that looks like could be a bedroom, saying guest bedroom. Then we have the power room right behind it. Okay. And then we have a bit of a service room there. So far it looks good, could be true. I cannot really see that. But then even the living area, like this is quite cool. So just from that little glimpse, it caught that was something of a dining area. And then we have the outdoor dining area, of course, that it can see. And then it came up with what the rest of it looks like. So it is assuming that this is a kitchen. Here we have the stove. Here we have a cooking island. And then if we take a look at the outside area, we can see 4 sun lounge chairs, fire pit area, the infinity pool. This is amazing. This is what you should try out if you're making a floor plan for your new apartment or your house. Even looking at the second floor, can we see much of that? Bedroom, study area, master suite. I love it. I mean, this could be realistic. Then for the roof plan, it's counting 35 panels. I don't think that looks like 35, but of course we cannot really see like what's going on behind here. Overall, I'm quite impressed. I'm really impressed by this. Again, let's compare this to Nano Banana Pro. So I'm giving this a fair chance, and I've generated it like 4 different times. The sun deck looks accurate, but the rest, it just looks less impressive. Nano Banana 2 takes the win here, like for sure. To dive deeper into this, I wanted to test this out again, but this time completely different. This time we're doing an infographic about the deep ocean zones, and I basically want to know like what's going on, and it needs to describe like what creatures are living there and what it looks like, and like give a bit details in there. So I gave it this detailed prompt exactly explaining like what's going on in each level. We have a few lines in between it. So to further test how good it is at understanding context and how good it is at implementing that context into images, I set out to make this National Geographic type infographic, and basically I want to have this infographic about the different levels of the deep ocean zones. So what type of creatures are there and what does it look like? And I've added in some details. So this is what we got with Nano Banana 2. I feel like this looks very clean. I honestly think if you're a teacher, like this is the area to be using AI. Of course, you gotta fact check if it's actually accurate and if it's good. But if we're getting this level of infographics that you can just whip out with one prompt, that is insane. Like this is a real use case how you can use this for explaining things to people. The next question is, why do we even explain things to people? Why do people learn when you've got these AIs that you can just ask things to? Or maybe you can even plug this into your brain. Yeah, sorry, these are the questions that keep me up at night. In terms of glitches or anything like that, I don't see anything weird going on. I compare this against Nano Banana Pro, and this time I'm not necessarily thinking Nano Banana 2 is better here. I do like this one a lot too. I'm not seeing anything wrong or many wrong things in this picture at all. So yeah, which one out of these two is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. Another question I get quite often is, how should I prompt? Now, I can give you this structure that I'm using myself, but honestly, what's been happening more and more with all of these models is they're getting better at understanding what you want with less words. But still, the ones that put in more details and actually know what they want, they get the best results. And it all comes down to first knowing what you want to have happening on the screen. And that is the common mistake I say all the time. So instead of saying a woman in her late 20s with olive toned skin, dark hair, loosely tied back, minimal jewelry, like that's already way more specific specific details of your subject, like you're describing what she looks like. Then for the action, you want to include what your subject is doing. So if we go back to the woman that we're trying to create here, is we can say she's sitting cross-legged on a couch, scrolling on her phone, or talking to the camera, holding earphones, something like that. For the environment, you want to describe what you want to have happening around her, or like in the background, or as a location. So there is a bright modern apartment, sheer white curtains, natural daylight, or a cozy cafe corner, warm ambient light. This is just to name a few details. For the art style, you can add something like photorealistic, or you can do shot on iPhone. That's one that works quite good. Candid and natural, or it has lifestyle and editorial feel. Lighting, you can include natural sunlight, or you can do soft diffuse daylight from a large window, warm afternoon indoor light, like all those kind of different lights can be described here. Then lastly, you can also include what type of camera it was shot on. If you have no idea what type of cameras look good, you can just go into Claude or ChatGPT, whatever you're using, and say, hey, what are cameras that are good at making these grainy style images? And you might end up with something like Kodak, or maybe if you want something more professional, or even like to a cinematography type film, then you might have an IMAX camera, or you don't even have to describe what camera it is, just describe what type of shot you want. So maybe like a medium close-up, slightly above eye level, or you want to have it shot on a 85mm lens. Those are all kind of things that aren't new. Like, this is not a secret life hack that you need to be using for Nano Banana 2. These are just details you can add into your prompt to prompt better. Now here I have an example using all of these different things. You can pause this for a second so you can read through it yourself. But if you implement this, then you can get a result like this if you're also using a reference of yourself. Lastly, one thing worth noting is that we have synth ID in these images. So if I were to drop this into Gemini and I ask Gemini, is this image AI? Then it should have this watermark baked into it, and you cannot do much about this. Depending on what you use this for, I don't think there's a problem. I think it's a good thing so that people actually know like if it's real or not real, because this can be abused. So here we have, based on digital watermarks, most of this image was edited and generated with Google AI. Additionally, the file details, of course, that doesn't help. We have this synth ID baked into it. So if you're using this for client work and you don't want them to note that it's AI, then they can still tell. But of course, if you're using this for client work, they should know that you're using AI. If you want to try this out yourself, I will leave the link to OpenArt in the description down below, and click the video that's on the screen right now if you want to get into AI filmmaking. Seriously, it's a good skill to learn.